Three failures show up in every agent that runs long enough. It gets stuck in a loop, it gets worse the longer it runs, and it calls tools that do not exist. Everyone blames the model for all three. The model is responsible for roughly one of them, and even then, not in the way people think. Let's go through them properly and be honest about the verdict each time. You have watched this happen. The agent tries something, it fails, and it tries the identical thing again and again. 6 times. Until you kill it or it burns your budget. The natural reading is that the model is stupid or stubborn or not paying attention. It is doing the only reasonable thing available to it. And once you see why, the fix is obvious and it is not a better model. Before we start, here's a question I want to hold over all 3 failures. Did the model get something wrong? It had what it needed and reasoned badly? Or did it get something missing? It reasoned fine over an input that couldn't support a better answer? Those two look identical from the outside. They need completely different fixes, and only one of them is ever solved by waiting for a better model. Keep score as we go. Failure 1. The loop. Look at what the model actually sees on attempt 2. It sees the transcript plus one line saying, "Operation failed." That line carries no information. It doesn't say what failed, or why, or what would work. So the input on attempt 2 is, in every way that matters, the same input as attempt 1. And a model given the same input produces the same output. That's not a flaw, that's the whole point of it. The loop isn't a decision the agent keeps making. It's one decision, replayed. So the fix follows directly. Every failed attempt has to put something new into the context. Not operation failed. What was tried, what was wrong with it, and what might work instead. Do that, and attempt 2 is no longer the same problem. The input changed, so the output can change. You break the loop by breaking the sameness. Verdict on failure 1. This is not the model. It is your error handling, and it is entirely fixable this afternoon. Failure 2, and this is the one people most often misdiagnose. Early in a session, the agent is sharp. 50 turns in, it's sloppy, vaguer, missing constraints, redoing work it already did. Same model, same session, no change from you. And here's what throws everyone. The context window is nowhere near full. There's plenty of room left. No error, no warning. People assume that means context isn't the problem. It is exactly the problem. Here's the mechanism, and it's the one from lesson 1. The constraint that bites is not capacity, it's attention. Everything you send competes for a finite amount of it, so each irrelevant token makes the relevant ones slightly harder to see. That degradation is smooth and it starts early. There's no threshold where it kicks in. So a context can be entirely legal and still be terrible. Fitting and working are different properties. And because nothing errors, you get no signal at all. The answers just quietly get worse, which is why people blame the model instead. The fix runs against instinct, which is why so few people do it. When an agent underperforms, the reflex is to add more context, more examples, another paragraph of instructions. Every one of those makes this particular failure worse. What actually works? Start a fresh session with a short written handoff. Put what must persist in a file instead of the transcript. Give messy subtasks their own window so the exploration never lands in your main one. Verdict on failure 2, shared. The model does have real attention limits, but you chose what to spend them on. Failure 3. The agent calls a tool you never registered. The name is plausible. Search underscore files when you have list underscore dir and grep. The arguments are plausible. It is exactly what the tool would be called if it existed. And people file this under hallucination, as though it were the same phenomenon as inventing a citation. It isn't, and the difference tells you the fix. Here's why, and it comes straight from lesson 3. The model produces text, and text can name anything at all. There is no type system, no linker, no compiler sitting between the output and your loop, because there is nothing sitting between them. Your code is the first thing that ever checks. And there's a second cause worth catching. Sometimes it invents a tool because the tool it needs genuinely doesn't exist. The gap in your tool set is real, and making up a name is the only way it has of expressing one. A repeated invented call is a feature request. The fix has two halves, and most people ship only the first. Validate the call against your registry, obviously. But rejecting it is the easy half. The half that matters is what you say back. The tool doesn't exist, here is what does, and here is how to do the thing you were reaching for. Return a bare rejection and you have just built failure 1, an error with no new information, and it will try again. Verdict on failure 3, yours. The model can only ever propose. Validation was always your side of the contract. Step back, and the 3 collapse into 1. In every case, the agent is acting on a context that cannot support a better decision than the one it made. The loop. Nothing new arrived, so nothing new could come out. Context rot. The information was there, but buried past the point of being usable. Invented tools. No reliable way to know what was actually available. Not 3 problems. 1 problem. 3 costumes. Which gives you a diagnostic you can run on any agent failure in about a minute. Ask, could a careful person, seeing exactly what I sent the model and nothing else, have done better? If the answer is no, stop tuning the prompt. The input cannot support the answer you want, and no amount of instruction will fix an input problem. Go fix what's in the window. If the answer is yes, a competent person would clearly have done better with that same input. Then you have a genuine model failure. They exist. They're just much rarer than they feel when you're staring at a broken run. So the scoreboard. The loop is yours, entirely. It's error handling. Context rot is shared. The model has real attention limits, but you decided what to spend them on. Invented tools are mostly yours, since validation was never the model's job to do. Add it up, and the overwhelming majority of what people call model failure is harness failure, which is the good news. The parts you own are the parts you can fix this week, without waiting for anyone to ship anything. Concretely, in order of payoff, 1. Make every error message carry new information. What was tried, what was wrong with it, what to try instead. On its own, this kills most loops, and it's an afternoon of work. 2. Cap your retries. If 2 attempts produce the identical call, that's your signal that nothing is changing. Stop and escalate instead of burning 10. 3. Restart long sessions with a written handoff instead of pushing on to turn 80. Cheaper than any prompt engineering you could do to rescue a rotted context. 2 places. This is too tidy. First, genuine model failures exist. Bad reasoning over a perfectly clean input, confident wrong arithmetic, a plan whose steps don't follow from each other. I'm making a claim about the ratio, not saying the number is 0, and the ratio has been shifting toward the harness as models improve. Second, sometimes a loop is just your tool being broken. If the file genuinely can't be read, the agent is right to fail. It just shouldn't fail 6 identical times before telling you. The line to keep. The agent is not misbehaving. It is behaving correctly on a bad input. Every one of these 3 failures is a sensible response to what it was actually given. And that's why adding "be more careful" or "double-check your work" to the system prompt never fixes any of them. You cannot instruct your way out of missing information. Either the thing it needed was in the window, or it wasn't. In one breath. Loops are errors that carry no new information, so the next attempt is the same attempt. Rot is attention divided too many ways, which happens long before the window fills. Invented tools are a missing validator, and occasionally a genuinely missing tool. And all 3 are the same failure underneath, a context that couldn't support a better call than the one you got. So that's the diagnosis. When an agent does something baffling, the useful question isn't why it did that. It's what it was looking at when it decided. Almost every time, the answer is in the window. Next time, the thing that tells you whether any of these fixes actually helped. how to evaluate an agent properly. Because right now you are almost certainly judging by vibes, and vibes do not survive a regression.